101.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
And welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation at exactly 7 a.m. The first hour, but the second hour pretty much as we continue the conversations right here. And today we are having a discussion on weekend review. How has the week been? What are some of the stories that hit the headlines that affected Mwananchi in one way or the other? And to have this discussion with us this morning is Kamau Wambi, who is the NEC member, Wiper Party. Karibu sana, Kamau.
Yes,
happy to see you.
Thank you.
Salama?
Thank you. Kabisa.
Nice. And the other hot seat is Frederick Okango, who is a strategic advisor. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's a good Friday for you?
Absolutely.
Mafuta inakupelekaje?
Tuko salama.
Salama.
Mambo ni shwari. Kabisa.
Nice. So with that, this week we are in a country that is Djibouti, a country with a population of 1.1 million, just got off an election, elected the president for the 6th term, a port city that feeds into Ethiopia, former colony of France. So it's a French-speaking country, speaks Somali, and due to intermarriage with Ethiopia because of business that they do, they also have a huge Ethiopian population as well in the country. But the problem that we get from Djibouti, a person who has not traveled has no eyes. A person who has traveled has no eyes. How would you interpret it?
A person who has not traveled
yes,
has no eyes.
Kama hujasafiri huna macho.
This is a country that voted the other day and they have elected their president for the 6th term.
Yes.
For sure they have not traveled, they have no eyes. Because world democracies all over do not allow leaders to stay longer on seats. It is undemocratic and detrimental to the people of any country.
But that also allows them to.
I am saying we are benchmarking with democracies that have advanced. Even the United States of America
Kenya
cannot. Even Kenya cannot. So for sure, a person who has not traveled has no eyes.
Has no eyes.
They better travel and have some eyes. Maybe they come to Kenya.
Come on, how would you interpret it?
Well, I'll interpret it very different, but a person who have not traveled, have no eyes, is I'll equate it to the same as a Kikuyu proverb that says, but I'll translate it.
Just say it in Kikuyu and then translate it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Modo tadhiororokaga nowe no nyina owe koruga.
Okay, now translate.
So if you don't eat outside, if you don't go outside there, you only know it's your mother who knows to cook. So if a person who have not traveled has no eyes, it's the same. So if you know kuishi kwingi kuona mengi kwenda kwingi, it's the same. Kumeishi kwingi kumeishi miaka mingi umeenda sana, so umeona mengi. You have gone and experienced life in all phases, and so if you have not traveled, you have not seen, just like our country.
Nina is mother, right?
Yes.
So if I say Nina wako negodete, that means I love you, my mother.
You love your mother.
See? I just had to throw that in there. Gentlemen, we find ourselves at a very interesting place as a country today, right? So let's just take the week. Tunataka power, tunataka zoning. Tunataka nchi iende mbele, mafuta imepanda juu. But we have to read that as well in retrospect. Remember at the time when Ukraine hit the world, and President William Ruto at the time told Uhuru Kenyatta, wacha kutuambia mambo ya Ukraine bwana, wewe tuambie vile utapunguza bei ya nini? Bei ya mafuta, you know? He finds himself in the same space today. But you also look at what followed. So we have individuals who were arrested, they were taken to court, got out on bail. CS says, it wasn't me. Pull that shaggy line. It wasn't me. I wasn't aware. Despite our correspondence showing that his office was actually done what? Was actually succeed in all these conversations. Are we lying to each other? Are we being told the truth by the political class? I'll start with you.
Thank you very much. For sure, we want power. And we cannot stay without power. Now, I think comparing President William Ruto's regime to Uhuru Kenyatta's is a joke. President Uhuru Kenyatta was one of the laziest presidents we've ever had. He was lazy. When there was an issue in Ukraine that affected the fuel prices globally, his interventions were minimal. Very minimal. Today, we are talking about fuel prices that would have otherwise been 267 today, were it not for the government intervention. And I want to be very objective as a Kenyan who live in this country and fuel using the same prices that are operating today. The President of the Republic of Kenya and his government has made several interventions. One, the price controls. You just mentioned that when this scandal erupted, there were people who were arrested, even though they have not been arraigned in court, but they have resigned. They are out of office. That is what is called
Should the cabinet secretary resign? Should the cabinet secretary resign?
No.
Why?
Because the investigations did not point at the cabinet secretary.
Does the buck stop with the cabinet secretary?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. Why?
Because the PS is the accounting office. I'm sure you're aware about that. Number two, the government has taken measures on what is called subsidies and VAT cuts. Just yesterday, the government had proposed, and through the bill, Kimani Chungo majority leader, VAT Amendment Bill 2026, particularly Section 5, that introduced Section 2A, that allows for the reduction of the VAT from 16% on petroleum products.
You see, Okango, before you proceed, right? I think we have to be factual on.
I'm very factual.
We have to be factual, right? On the face, let's be honest with Kenyans this morning. We're talking about reduction of VAT from 16% to 8%. When President William Ruto got into office under the promise that I will lower the price of fuel when I get into power, the first thing he did was increase VAT from 8% to 16%.
So can you allow me to proceed?
Wait, chill, right? That is a fact that exists. When we talk about President making roadside declarations that VAT will go from, he has directed VAT to go from 16% to 8%. That is against the laws of the land because the president does not have that power. It is Parliament that changes that law. The president does not have the power to give roadside declarations directing EPRA to lower VAT. That is the role of the Parliament, and president does not have that power.
Now, listen, I agree with you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So do you agree that the president broke the law in making those statements?
No, he did not. Okay. If you look at the amendment of Section 5 of the VAT Act, that amendment was done by Parliament, not President.
But it was passed before it went to Parliament.
We want Kenyans to understand.
We have to be honest with each other because the VAT was
for us
implemented.
To understand each other,
Okango.
This is a discussion, and you invited me here
I can
contribute to this issue.
But we must be honest and factual with Kenyans
your
as well.
Facts might not be the facts that Kenyans are looking for.
And what I'm telling you...
So you have told me...
I have a question, Okango. Just...
Okay.
VAT was lowered from 16% to 8%.
By who?
Before the matter was passed in Parliament. Do we agree?
That's not true. That's not true.
But the fuel reduction actually was effected
before Parliament.
True.
So it's a fact.
It was effected before Parliament.
The members of Parliament are legislators. Government bills are sponsored by the majority leader. Now, the issue that you are raising is an issue that I've had people debate outside there. Initially, when the cabinet secretary lowered it from 16 to 13%, no one said anything.
It's still against the law, sir. It's still against the law.
Can you allow me to execute my point?
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I'm the guest, you're the host.
Yes, and I have to correct you when you're wrong.
You can't correct me.
I can't correct you when you're wrong.
Because you have not listened to my train of thought.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. These are issues that have been discussed. When Parliament went ahead and lowered the VAT from 16% on petroleum products to 8% is a welcome intervention. Number two, when Parliament discussed this issue and passed that bill into an act today and allow the cabinet secretaries to lower it further when necessary, by 90 days, extend it through a gazette notice, is a welcome intervention. So when you want to accuse the president of going against the law, while the initiative in itself is meant to cushion you and many other Kenyans out there listening and watching at us, it is ridiculous.
Is the law suggestion?
Number two.
Is the law suggestion to the president?
That's why I said that we have had a very lazy president before, that instead of putting initiatives like these, pushed a subsidy that was having beneficiaries. Today, the government of Kenya is planning through private investors to stabilize this issue by establishing a reserve in Mombasa, fuel reserve. Today, we are talking about 6.2 billion that has been put in place to go into fuel subsidization and securitization. So when you tell me here that you want to correct me, I am wrong because you are right. While the people of Kenya have welcomed the idea of intervention so that it cushions them. Who is wrong?
You are wrong.
Thank you.
Well, continue.
You know, sometimes we say it's not about being right, but it's about being rational and logical. Because we're talking about Kenyans, we're talking about our economy, we're talking about our livelihood. We know the ripple effect the fuel prices have on our livelihood across board, regardless of our political divide that we are seeing.
Absolutely.
So I would want to invite us to look at the impact that is going to happen to all of us as Kenyans.
Correct.
Number one, Fred, in your opening remark, you said we had the laziest
President.
Of
or
course.
lame duck president.
No. I used lazy.
Yeah, he used to be called lame duck, I remember,
He's lazy.
for a long time. And that is why, by that definition or any other, that is why people rejected his political project, the Azimio candidate, because they did not want extension of that regime into this current regime. Comparatively, Kenyans are looking at the performance of this government, because government is meant to secure us food-wise, threat-wise, health-wise, to
Correct.
make sure that we are thriving. And Kenyans are saying this regime is not doing that. When it comes to fuel, it is unfortunate that we are beginning to debate about the reduction of the VAT and overlooking the fact that last week you and I paid less for fuel than we are paying
Today.
this morning.
Why did we pay less?
Because the hiking had not happened.
Why is the hiking there?
Well, that's what we are coming to now.
Correct.
That's
Let's
what
go
we're
there.
coming to now.
Let's go there.
And we need to understand that we're being told about the Strait of Hormuz, they're talking about the economic factors, but we need to understand that we have not received a consignment in the last 2 weeks to effect the cost of fuel at the pump. When you talk about the VAT reduction, that is not what we should be focusing on. The question should be, how do you justify the 20-something, the 40-something shillings that has been pumped up?
Okay.
How do we defend that? Okay. And then be mindful, how is that going to affect the Kenyans?
That's true.
Because even if VAT was taken out, 16%, even if all of it was taken out, fuel will still be high.
And there's a reason why. There's a reason why, and I'll explain.
Because the government must have mitigative measures to make sure that we are able to cushion ourselves, not through subsidy. Remember this regime, when they came into office, they were a regime that perhaps, needless to say, people are not supporting, but now they're supporting. That's why we have the broad-based arrangement. But people, they say they were not going to effect any subsidy. Remember, the UNGA subsidy was taken off.
Yeah.
You know,
Fuel subsidy was taken off.
It was taken off. So let's have a conversation that is very objective.
Maybe you
Come on.
give.
Let me maybe
Yes.
I can. You know, I was quite all through
trying
to get, some sense, out of whatever my brother is saying, and all the noise because that is noise that he was making. There's no facts. There's no actual facts that he has stated in the last, few minutes that he was on the table. And I want to take you back to Article 152, 150 there, about the roles of you asked him a question about should the cabinet secretary
take responsibility
and resign. He said no, because the PS is the accounting officer. But Article 152 of the Constitution stipulates the roles of a cabinet secretary. One of the roles of the cabinet secretary is to advise the president. Number 2 is to manage and take accountability of the whole ministry. Now, when the cabinet secretary of energy is just seated and not taking responsibility, he sits and says, I don't know whatever was happening. I have no idea of whatever was happening. That shows how incompetent that guy is, how idealist that guy is, and how fast he should go home. That is, to state that one for fact. Number 2, the reduction of 16% to 8%, those are just theatrics. As my brother says here, the Strait of Hormuz was closed a few weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. We have not received any consignment in the country for, almost a whole month. Mm-hmm. The cabinet secretary himself was again on record on media saying, we are sorted. For the next 6 to 8 months, we are sorted as a country. There's no need to panic. We have enough fuel to sustain the country. Now, where is the rice coming in? If at all, kwa tank, mafuta imejaa na imesettle. Sasa imeongezeka kwa sababu kuna mahali kuna vita. My brother, I don't know what is, how, if they dream with Uhuru, what has Uhuru has to do with this? I mean, the old man is just resting somewhere. How lazy was he? This guy managed this country with COVID and managed this country with the Ukraine and Russia. And I can remind you, during Ukraine and Russia, that was when we were hard. We were hard, what do we call it?
Hard hit.
We were hard hit. And then we were buying a barrel at 98 shillings and another one at 100 shillings, both diesel and petrol, respectively. Right now, we are buying at 141 and I think at 138 for diesel. But now then, mafuta raised and we were really hit.
So
mafuta raised to around 140, 160. Today, both of them are at around 100 and it was 206 and now 10 shillings deducted, it's 190 shillings. Now, I don't know what my brother is, and I don't know what Kenyans is speaking on behalf of, and what Kenyans are listening here, and how happy they are trying to listen to, to whatever he's trying to explain. And mafuta and fuel is the epitome of the Kenyan economy.
Just to try and buttress this matter, it's important for us to be objective.
Yep.
As a country, the biggest component of the fuel is taxes, because the landing cost is about 107,
correct,
or something like that.
Correct.
But about 99 shillings. It's
actually 82.
Yeah. So when
that
you
goes
think
into
about
the 9 taxes.
So when I hear that the current regime is doing better in terms of managing this, I don't see anything unique. Why? They're doing exactly what Uhuru Kenyatta did. And what they are saying was lazy. But then I also look at it from this perspective. Remember, in Manga, when the then vice president, deputy president did say, these cartels, this will never happen again. What is it that is unique and innovative now, because we're talking subsidies through the PDL, isn't it? I don't see any benefit to Kenyans. Kenyans are going to suffer and unfortunately making themselves more unpopular than they already are. Mm-hmm. And that's why Kenyans are deciding, and you've had young people are saying, Fred, unfortunately, the government must reduce the fuel further. If it doesn't, then the street is the answer.
Okay, that's good.
And it is a good beginning. But I'm asking, you talk about this government being creative and being more productive. What value are we seeing, or Kenyans are more in the mud and in a quagmire and not moving forward?
Okay.
Maybe
so
before you answer.
I think one of the issues that we must put straight is we said we must be factual. Mm-hmm. The gentleman seated across the table has said that he is referring to Article 152 that establishes the cabinet. I don't know whether he's a lawyer, I'm one. So I've read that article. It is irrelevant. So I think let's start from there, because he talks about the cabinet, the composition, and how to reassign and also remove from office.
Talked about the roles of the cabinet.
No, it's not in that
secretary.
article, for sure, it's not. Number two, so let's start from there. Number two, the government of the day is experiencing challenges like many other governments before. Facts. However, the intervention specifically on the issue of fuel, remember this issue of fuel is a global issue. Why? I asked him and he did not answer me. Why are we having high fuel prices today? It is established fact that because of the conflict in the Middle East, if you follow global news, the US today, it is $4 from $2.19. It's a fact. So in today's arrangement, if the government is planning, has set aside 175 billion that is going to reserve in Mombasa through private partnership, if the government today is looking at securitization, if the government today is looking at VAT cuts, I agree with him. Majority of the taxes, the 9 of them, excess duty, VAT, fuel levy, road maintenance levy, railway levy, all those are contributing to the cost of fuel in Kenya. And 40% of that is tax at the price, pump price. Now, people have tried to compare what we have with the region. The reason why ours is high is because the other regions, though they are landlocked, they heavily depend on excise duty. They don't put VAT on petroleum products. It is a fact. So if you want to remove this tax, you, him, and him are Kenyans. You are represented by members of parliament. Go to parliament, petition, and tell the members of parliament that we would want going forward to remove all these VATs on petroleum products so that we have a pump price that is affordable. We start from there because we're now offering solutions. This is not politics anymore. I agree. The higher the cost of fuel, the higher the cost of life. That is a fact. Now, I started by saying the previous regime has been lazy. This regime relied on subsidies alone. The current regime has relied on securitization, has relied on fuel reserve, has relied on VAT tax reduction, and also price control. When you drive into a fuel pump, the price you pay is controlled by EPRA. And there is normally review monthly. If the government does not cushion, it will be inflated. Number 3, there's an arrangement called G2G. The reason why the government went for the G2G as a measure is because you want to bypass the private suppliers who are profiteering from this exercise. So when you go G2G, you are sure that you can control the incidents there. That is a creative and innovative way. That's why I said the previous government compared to the one today
I think
was
Fred,
lazy.
I think
It's a
Fred,
fact.
us being honest is the fact that when we went G2G, the major issue was the exchange rate.
It was stabilization of the
Stabilization
dollar.
of the dollar.
And because
it had nothing to do with
buy
supply.
fuel in dollars.
Which is what...
And look at beyond the stabilization of dollar, which the government have managed to do.
Now,
go beyond that and look at now, does that control the price? Does it make sure that you reduce the middlemen? Does it make sure that you avoid this private tendering process that is more expensive and ensure that the people of Kenya get to a deal that is direct between government to government? Yes.
So
Okango.
Okango, answer this question
I'll answer.
because it's important.
Correct.
When you speak eloquently about how government is doing and helping Kenyans,
I appreciate.
Which Kenyan are you representing? Because the Kenyan I know is suffering, and today many more people are working because they cannot afford.
You know,
the cost of living. Cost of living is going to go up.
Of course,
definitely. Kenyans are already complaining about high fares. When you speak and say it's innovative, the dollar has been stabilized. Give it to you that you
with the fuel prices right now.
Managed it at 129, 130 in an economy that when we came into power, we said, the dollar was, we allowed it to the vagaries of the market, and then all of a sudden we were struggling. which Kenyan are you representing?
So let
today?
me
Which
answer.
Kenyan are you
Let me
representing?
answer you, my brother. We must appreciate that the issue of fuel today is a global issue. We must appreciate.
It is, but
Yeah,
is it only affecting Kenya?
No.
Let's hear him.
I mean, it's a fact that it is a global issue, and it's affecting the world.
Oh, yes.
So what we must talk about, what are the solutions that the government of the day is offering to its people to cushion them from that burden? That is what I'm executing. Number two, you are asked, which Kenyans am I representing? When I speak as Kenyans. As a Kenyan, first of all, when I walk out of here, I'll drive into a fuel station. I'll pay the same price that you are paying and others. So I am saying that it is important to acknowledge that were it not for the intervention that this government have put place today, you, me, and them would have driven to the fuel pump and paid 267 shillings.
Okay,
Now, that is what we're talking about.
Right.
Now, compare that to what we have now. And we have said that it is important that we even lower it further. And that's why if you look at the creative amendment in Section 5 of the VAT Act that came through the bill, VAT Amendment Bill 2026, it says, it gave a provision that the cabinet secretary in charge can actually, through a gazette notice, extend as we look at other measures. Our party has made it very clear.
Which party?
Which party?
ODM.
Right.
And we have made it very clear that we must see subsequent lowering of the fuel prices. And we are putting the government to check. And we're saying we want to see more creative and innovative ways, even through parliament, to ensure that the people of Kenya are cushioned. That is a creative way.
Okano,
So what has
That is a
ODM?
solution.
And I hear that.
Okano, let me just shoot this. The government got into a G2G agreement with Saudi, right? In terms of fuel, and that was meant to stabilize
The dollar.
the dollar, which it did. Dollar has been playing
it's
at
get- it's
129,
actually
130,
yeah.
right? And that now you say that it also went through to help us deal with the prices of fuel. I'm going to ask a simple question. Has that government G2G agreement achieved anything in lowering fuel prices for the Mwananchi?
It has achieved to the extent that where we are today, that is what we can afford. Number two, it has not achieved because the issue of fuel today is a global issue. Even the developed economies, developed world are experiencing the same.
All right.
What we have to go to is how is our government trying to cushion the people of Kenya?
Question
That's what
number
I've
two.
explained.
Question number two. We mentioned about the position of Cabinet Secretary. Yourself, you've said that in this amendment bill, it has given the Cabinet Secretary in charge the responsibility or the room to extend, right? But then again, in the very same breath, you say the Cabinet Secretary, who right now you agree is in charge, was unaware, and that now we go to the Principal Secretary because he is the accounting officer. Why the double speak? Because when you look at the roles of the Cabinet Secretary, I'll just go through them. Policy formulation and
Which article are you
implementation.
reading?
At 152, Article 152, and related provisions.
Okay.
You know, the policy formulation.
I'm more interested in the related provisions.
Listen, policy formulation and implementation. Relax. I'm executing my point.
Sure, go ahead.
Yes. Policy formulation and implementation. A CS is responsible for developing government policies within their ministry and ensuring these policies are implemented effectively. For example, the CS for Health designs policies on healthcare delivery and oversees their rollout. The same applies with the Cabinet Secretary for Energy. You go to advising the president. Cabinet secretary are key advisors to the president on matters related to their
Correct.
ministries, matters related to their what?
Correct.
To their ministries. They provide expert input during cabinet meetings
Correct.
and help shape national
Correct.
decisions. National what? National decisions. Oversight of the ministry operations. They supervise all activities within their ministry, including state departments, government agencies, and parastatals under their
Correct.
ministry.
I agree.
Now, when an individual who supervises operations in the ministry comes to tell you, I was unaware of decisions that are of national interest within my ministry, and you're seated here telling us that the man is not responsible, what exactly do you
So
mean?
let me ask you, who is this CS in charge of energy and petroleum that said he was unaware?
Oh, he did.
He did. He
No,
did.
I'm asking who is he?
Ondai,
Ondai.
Opiyo.
Opiyo Ondai.
Okay. So, the issue that the cabinet secretary raised it with the president. You have said he is an advisor to the president. Yes, he said he advised the president that intended procurement was outside G to G. Remember, listen, relax.
Okango.
Relax. Okay, do you want to have your show alone? Or you want
Yes,
us to have the
I
show?
think we should now, as at that point, we have given and condoled so much.
Wait,
you
so-
know.
Okango.
You know, when I come here,
Okango.
I come here.
I've given
Not
you
only
an
to-
Okango. I've given you an opportunity to respond.
So let me respond then.
Okay then.
Yeah.
I'll have follow-up
Okay.
questions.
I want to give what I would call objection. Please allow me to explain what I am saying, and allow me to say it in a manner that I know. And also, I want you to desist from taking a line that is unjournalistic. So what I'm saying is,
Point of order sustained. Continue.
Continue.
thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate.
Right.
And next time, let's have
Proceed.
a
Proceed,
proper,
sir.
a proper
Proceed.
environment that we can engage. The cabinet secretary has a responsibility on individual responsibility and collective responsibility, both to the people of Kenya and to the president. When he appeared before the committee in parliament, he did tell the public that he advised the president that procurement was outside G to G, and that's why it had to go. The government of the day initiated investigation through the investigative agencies and identified where the gaps were. The investigations are ongoing. As far as it is now, it has pointed to the MD Kenya Pipeline, Director General EPRA, and the PS in charge. If they find that, as they continue, that the CS in charge is implicated, he will go. So why are we pushing a narrative that is not...
So,
So my follow-up
May I
question.
respond, if I may?
My follow-up question.
Yeah.
My follow-up question
Yeah.
is: under oversight, he is the one who's in charge of parastatals and other agencies within his department. The buck stops with the CS. Am I right? Based off that provision, that by the time these communication that we've seen all the way to his office, and he says he was unaware, by the time the order was being made for that fuel to come all the way to the country, all those decisions fall under his docket. That if the cabinet secretary would come and tell Kenyans that he is unaware, one would say, and correct me if I'm wrong, ignorance of the law is no defense.
Okay.
more like,
Yes.
just to add to
Sorry.
that, more like, you can actually delegate, but you do not abdicate responsibility.
Yeah.
And so, as it is, in jurisdictions that people are governed by conscience, Opiyo Ondai would have said today, this has happened under my watch. Let me allow this to be done so that, why don't we resign in this country when we're doing the wrong thing?
So let me just answer the two questions
Okay,
in one
good.
sentence.
Okay.
I think in law there's what we call, you must give people
Yeah.
a fair hearing and
okay.
opportunity.
Okay.
And the investigative agencies must actually find reason that points to someone for being culpable. That has not happened. However, we have got what is called responsibility of leadership. The authority that is assigned to a state officer like a cabinet is an authority that must be exercised in a certain manner. That exercising it must also give respect to the people. The respect that the cabinet secretary has given to the people, he has come out and told them that for sure this deal was outside the government arrangement as a policy that was made by the cabinet. Number two, he has come out and told the public that he did advise the president that whatever was being procured was outside that arrangement. And he has acknowledged that for sure there was a challenge. That is responsibility. So if we say here that he must resign, he must go, he has abdicated duty, I mean, we are not being fair. And lastly, I think there are provisions
to remove a cabinet secretary in law.
Correct.
My party has members of parliament. I don't know whether his party has members of parliament, but if they have, then they can initiate that petition in parliament, and we can see it, how it ends.
Is your
Thank
party
you.
is your party taking that initiative?
We have said,
Right.
and my party leader, Oburu Oginga,
Yeah.
said recently that as it is today, there is no investigative outcome that is linking the cabinet secretary of PO and I to the fuel scandal.
Okay.
So far. And if the investigative agencies will find that there is,
Yeah.
then I'm sure the logical process will take place.
take place.
And we can have that discussion at that time. As it is now, we are jumping forward.
As we bring in Kamau, when I look at your evidence 101, you cited the statement about the lazy president. And I assume you're alluding to institutional responsibility that he did not assume effectively as a president.
And administrative duty.
Yes, to manage the country. It is the same thing Dennis is talking to when he talks about the institutional responsibility the CES bears. The same way with the CES Health. We had the scandal of 10 billion from Shah, and he was asked whether he should resign, and he says no. So when Kenyans suffer just at the behest of somebody abdicating their duty, what should happen? A criminality has been committed. Yes, it is under investigation, I agree. But we must also allow, as he says about conscience, we are a country of the rule of law.
Yeah.
People need to learn how to step aside and allow investigations to happen. But still, that will not cure the economic crisis, because I don't want us to be swayed by some opinions we may hold and lose the,
Please don't hold it.
the substantive matters. Now, Kamau, as you come in, do you feel that Kenyans are reacting unfairly? Do you feel that Kenyans are in order to say that the reason, and Fred also, you may chime in into this, the reason Kenyans have an issue with the 9 taxes or levies in the fuel is because we do not see tax justice. We do not
The tax regime is unfair, for sure.
Yes, correct. We do not see utilization of the taxes. And that is where the context is of this conversation. So how do we find ourselves first agreeing that a criminality has been committed, the tax injustice persists, and Kamau, I ask you now, are Kenyans reacting unfairly?
All right. Maybe before I answer that, I think we should not sit here and try to sugarcoat a lot of things and talk too much where things, we should address the issues as they are. When now my brother here is here trying to, he thinks Kenyans have feeble minds, as he's trying to purport that the cabinet secretary should still be in office, and that the government is working too much, trying to, bring things to calm. Let us not talk too much. Let us address issues as they are, the way things are at, and what is really affecting the people of Kenya, and what really should be changed. I'm sure right now, if our president and the executive would go and cut back the prices and bring back the prices to normalcy, he'll still come back and tell you how good the president is and how good the people of Kenya are happy, and but now, because it is wrong and it is not right, and now as I come to you, the Kenyans are not happy with all those taxes. My friend, we have a problem with leadership in this country, where we are supposed to take accountability and responsibility. We start, throwing it to each other. I don't. Let us not sit here and try and lecture each other and try and explain where the problem came from, where it is going, who is supposed to be impeached. I mean, it is about responsibility and accountability. And we all know that this government is doing business with its country and its citizens. We all know. Let us not sit here and sugarcoat and try and, and say how good the government is trying to work around. You have a government who seizes opportunities in crisis.
Yeah.
They see a crisis, they seize opportunity in it. We have a crisis right now in Iran, and the war in Iran now, they are seizing their crisis, and now they're trying to, to have an opportunity in it and get cash from it.
Yeah.
After the kelele was all over, and just they threw a tantrum, 40 shillings. After the kelele, 10 shillings. So really it can be done. So we are going to continue. And I want to tell my brother Okango here, we might sit down and talk. But let me tell you, the buck stops with Kenyans. This is our country. We are not going to allow it to be eaten by the dogs. We're not going to allow it to be taken back to the, we are going to defend our country to the core. And if these people are not going to address this issue, we started the same thing with finance bill. We started saying, this one, the finance bill is doing that. But we saw where we ended up as a country. We can continue, but the majority, other than the 5 of us in this room, there are other people somewhere else trying to say, but they maneno hii si mzuri.
All right.
And the moment we are going to go back to the streets, you call him back here, and I don't know what he's going to say, but we are going to address the issues as they are.
I want us to switch gears.
Just 1 minute so that I respond to what he says, as we switch gears. I think my friend is not offering solution. He's lamenting. I really hate people who just lament.
No, it's his position too.
Yeah.
It's his position. It's his opinion.
Exactly.
Speak about your opinion.
My opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion is he's lamenting. He's not offering any solution.
Okay.
We have offered solution. And I believe it belongs to the opposition. The ugliest face of this country is the opposition. They have failed to offer any solution. They are saying the government of the day is taking advantage of the world crisis. That is wrong. Themselves, they should be giving us the alternative. They claim today they are the alternative united opposition, or government for that matter. What is their position on the 9 taxes? What is their position on the cut tax reduction? What is their position on the fuel subsidies? What is their position on the fuel securitization? I hold the opinion that the issue is an issue that we must tackle. It is a grave issue. It is affecting all Kenyans. We are experiencing challenges as Kenyans, and we must address it pronto. Lastly, he says that we talk too much. I'm trained to talk, and I have to talk to the people of Kenya and explain to them in details what is needed so that we move forward. That is what we are doing.
A section of Kenyans, real quick, are saying, Fred,
Yeah.
that the government, is attempting to solve a problem that they created.
Oh, yeah.
And they're saying, stop gaslighting us.
And still not offering a good solution.
That is interesting. I like the fact that the government of Kenya started the war in Iran. I like the fact that they've increased the fuel prices. I like the fact that the war in Iran is sustained by the Kenyan government.
They're
That's very
referring to the
interesting.
economic
Guys,
crisis. But let's switch.
Let's switch gears. Another thing that we've seen in the country recently, because on matters fuel, we can't converse in this conversation, right? But there has been talk within your party and UDA, and this is with regard to zoning, right? There is also the latest information that we got yesterday that there seems to be problem in Paradise. ODM is asking the president to rein in on his leaders. They need to behave, right? Why is it that ODM today is talking about zoning? Is it because ODM is afraid of going head-to-head with his opponents? Is it a big deal?
Thank you very much. The Orange Democratic Movement is a party that is governed by principles. It is the largest movement in form of a party in the region. I'm sure you're aware about that. And therefore, we must protect our party to the core. Number one, the Orange Democratic Movement has never feared any competition for the last 20 years.
Then why call for zoning?
Now, the issue of zoning is an issue that is coming up because of coalition talks. Zoning worldwide is a political tact tool that is used in negotiations. When we say that zoning is necessary, we are not saying that we cannot compete. We're just saying that as a party that is going into an agreement with others. By the way, as Okango, I believe that Kenya is a multi-party democracy. I believe that it is fair to compete. I believe that fielding candidates all over is the ultimate reason why political parties are formed, so that you capture power. That's what we believe in. Now, this issue of zoning has been exaggerated. It has been exaggerated like it has never happened before. When we went into coalition with NASA before, there was zoning. When we went into coalition with the COD, there was zoning. When we went into coalition with recently Azimio, there was zoning. The reason why zoning is important it is strategic for the party to coalesce around a situation that gives them the power to negotiate, that gives them the opportunity to mobilize numbers for their candidate, that gives them the opportunity to ensure that not only they compete with others, but also compete internally. I am a proponent of an arrangement where we can even go for joint nomination as a coalition. But let me tell you, it is too early to talk about this. It is too early because we are at a time when we are now going into the formation of a technical team that will look at zoning issue, look at the seats, look at the political party strength, and look at individuals that are running. So at that time, we'll talk about it. But as it is now, I believe that these are discussions that the two parties are talking about. The president, when he's speaking in Kisii, did say that that is an issue that will be addressed. Yesterday, my party organized a meeting called Central Management Committee, one of the most significant organs of the party. And they made a decision and they requested the UDA counterparts that let's cease these talks that are going to create a conflict that is not existing, because there's no conflict. Political parties must compete. However, we believe that with the formation, our party in Article 87 of the party requires that the party, when they're going to negotiation, they form also a coalition committee. I also attended the joint parliamentary group where the president was under Buru Ginga, ODM and UDA, and there was a proposal to form an 8-member technical committee that is going to look into all these issues. I am sure the two leaders are looking into that.
Yeah.
So as it is, there's no issue to raise alarm. We are on course, and political negotiations demand that you protect your territory. Politics is about interest. The interest of ODM is to ensure that we secure as many seats as possible, because that's what we're going to do.
Come on, Vic.
Fred, Kamau comes in.
Yeah.
Is ODM still in Azimio on paper?
If you remember, I was the Secretary for Political Affairs of Azimio. There is what is called the deed of agreement.
Right.
That deed of agreement gave an exit clause. And the exit clause states that for you to exit the coalition, you must give a 90-day notice. We did give 90-day notice. Okay. So I can confidently tell you, we are no longer interested in Azimio because Azimio is dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Come on.
Come on.
Because as well, opposition as well have been seen to be talking about zoning. Rigathi Gachagua was saying that Nairobi is a DCP
And you're
region.
still in
We will talk.
Azimio.
You're still in Azimio. Where are we with the zoning as well within the United Opposition, alternative government?
Well, maybe for the better part, I'll agree with my brother here about zoning. But as an upcoming leader and as an emerging leader, and I'm also a victim of zoning because actually, Okango, I was a member of ODM in the last election, and I was zoned off.
Maybe you should come back because we are going to Canaan through stuff. You'll miss the train.
You can have a G2G. You can have
A
party to
P2P.
party,
P2P.
All right, come on.
I vied with an ODM ticket in the last election and got zoned off because I was told that is a Jubilee stronghold, and therefore was told to join Jubilee so that I can go for primaries where I got played. And anyway, that is. But as a victim of zoning, it is a democratic right of any citizen to join any party.
Correct.
And it is and vie under that party
Absolutely.
anywhere in this country.
Correct.
Without being zoned off. And this is where these parties, they bring in the aspect of tribalism. And this is where we as the young people are saying we need to call off these parties and we need to stop labeling these parties as tribal parties, that this party belongs to this region, this party belongs to the other region. We need to belong to as one state. That is where I need, I need to, the parties, and that is also what we have been pushing in our party, that there should be no zoning. If I have aspirations to run for a specific seat somewhere, and my brother has an aspiration to run for a specific seat, and I come with one party A, and he comes with party B, but party A is regionally, acknowledged in that area, and my party B is not acknowledged in that area, and therefore I'm told now, because we're in the same coalition, please step down for this one. So that I don't think that should hold. But now, with what is happening with ODM and Azimio and us in Azimio, as Wiper, we're still in Azimio. We still believe, and we're still going to Canaan. These ones are already left, and we know where they are. Zoning, as from where we stand right now, well, it makes politics easy. It makes, because the interests of the parties, it makes them, they bring it down. I am looking for that name to call it, but it makes work easier.
There's a contradiction in terms.
Yes.
Even when you listen to Fred, he talks about democracy, but at the same time, he talks about
zoning.
But again, politics never makes sense sometimes until it makes sense. So as it were, there's a realization that probably ODM, in the space they find themselves today, they're probably negotiating from a weak position. Maybe something they need to relook at, because when you start to complain about, zoning, you want UDA to keep quiet, I clearly can tell that probably you walked into that relationship without figuring out exactly the dynamics of it.
That's not true.
That's my
allow me.
opinion.
And that's an observer's perspective.
Yeah, and I think
Insider's perspective says that when you are going for negotiations, you must put your best foot forward. The best foot forward that ODM is putting is that we must secure as many seats as possible. He says we are not going to Canaan anymore. I agree. We are going to Singapore. They are going to Amunyoro. But that's okay. We have said that what we want is a country that is for all of us. We want a country. And look at Olkalau today. They are in united opposition. Why is it that Wiper is not fielding Olkalau? Why is it Wiper is not fielding Emwa Dikir? Why is it a Wiper did not field in others? They are zoning because they are protecting the territory. They fear losing. We are in arrangement. It is not that democracy does not allow for zoning. No. Democracy allows for all of us to participate and compete fairly. That is democracy. But what we are saying is that the same law creates what is called pre-election coalition. In a pre-election coalition, you must have a structured engagement. Our structured engagement with UDA is that we must go there in a transparent and accountable manner. We shall do that. We shall deliver.
That's a good place to end the conversation, gentlemen in studio. We want to thank Frederick Okango, the strategic advisor, and Kamau Wambiu, NEC member, Wiper Party. Just looking at the situation in the country, fuel prices are up, down, what the government is doing. Do Kenyans agree with that? Zoning as well in our political parties come 2027. But right now is Newswire with Sheila Timbur at exactly 8.
Spice up your life. This is the Situation Room. The only way to start your